Welcome back, and we have a fun show excited for you here today. We're talking Ninja Turtles Last Ronin being turned into a rated R film. Disney Plus plans to do TV-style channels on their Disney Plus. Wednesday cast Steve Buscemi for Season 2. Keanu Reeves has been cast as Shadow for Sonic 3. We're doing episodes 1 through 3 Fallout review. And lastly, for our discussion of the week, in honor of Addi, our favorite fictional character childhood crushes. Let's get into it. Welcome back, everybody, to ReelTime RoundTable, where we give you the best Hollywood-related news here on YouTube. I am your co-host, Josh Williams.
I'm your co-host, Jordan Burke.
We got Giggles over here.
I'm Thomas Dilzite.
Yeah.
We got Captain Giggles over here at the end.
No, I'm Captain Giggles.
Yeah.
This is
Funny
Icarus's
day.
first time
It is.
as
I'm so
talent
happy,
on
yeah.
ReelTime RoundTable. That's
But I've
exciting.
been here.
Yeah, of course.
I've been back there
Yeah.
with my whiteboard.
You just
This
stand
is my
there.
first time where I don't need the whiteboard. I can just say the
You
things
can
say
that
it.
I
I think we can
wanna
all
say.
agree our brains are just pretty well fried. We got about
Oh,
2
yeah.
weeks left of
Yeah.
school,
Yeah.
and
We're out of it.
this is a reminder, everybody, this is the last live stream of the semester, but we will have an episode next week, next Thursday, but it'll be pre-recorded because we have a gala we have to go to for our department. We will all,
Fancy.
maybe we can all dress up just for the real time. We'll see. I don't know. We'll talk
Oh,
about
yeah,
it.
yeah.
You might see us wear some
Yeah.
suits
Oh, yeah.
for real time.
Oh, yeah.
All right, guys, we ready to start for the day? Let's
I'm
do
ready.
it. All right, so to start us off, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles: The Last Ronin. According to Hollywood Reporter, it is finally being made into a rated R live-action television show. Or it's not a television show, live-action movie, and it's going to be written by Tyler Burton Smith, who has recently written Boy Kills World, but he also wrote the Chucky movie that came out a few years back. And it will be executive produced by Walter Hamada, who has a production called 18 Hertz Production, but he also has done some executive produced movies like The Conjuring, Annabelle, Conjuring 2, Lights Out, so he was executive producer on those. So I'm a huge TMNT fan. I picked this one because I want to talk about it last week, but we'll talk about it this week. Thomas,
Hi.
has any of you guys ever read the Last Ronin graphic novel?
No. I
Okay.
will even go up front and say that I am not even that big of, not to say that I'm not a fan, but like I'm just not that familiar with the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. I know that they're turtles. I know that their leader is a rat dude, and I think that's pretty cool. And then they got some ooze going, and that's about all I know.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, based on what you know of
about
the franchise, where it's more geared towards kids, are you shocked that they're actually going for, like, Paramount has actually greenlit a rated R, gory, bloody TMNT film?
Honestly, not really. I feel like that's kind of what a lot of companies have been doing lately. Just making things that were traditionally for like a younger audience. I mean, like the younger audience has grown up. Let's make it more mature. The only thing I can think that comes to mind is like Logan.
That's true. That's very, very good point. What about you, Jordan? I mean, what do you think of the fact that they're actually making it rated R?
I am a little shocked that they're actually doing it, but I think it's a great idea, especially with it being rated R, which I'm assuming that's going to be for the violence, most likely. I think it's a cool idea. I mean, like you said, getting that younger generation that might have grown up with this, that are now older, let's make something kind of geared more towards them. But then also, teenagers sometimes are we can be a little edgy sometimes. So I think it's a nice mix between the two.
So The Last Ronin, just kind of give people who don't know, the graphic novel, it is based in the future where the Ninja Turtles are basically like middle-aged at this point. But in this, the reason it's called Last Ronin is because Splinter and 3 of the turtles were murdered by Shredder's son. And so now the last Ninja Turtle is the one like seeking vengeance and revenge on Shredder's son, who's now taken over New York as well as like his dystopian like world where like he's taken over New York and he controls New York. So it's the last turtle to fight against this entire Foot Clan.
That's so cool.
So that's the whole idea.
Interesting.
Wow.
My favorite Ninja Turtle? Oh, I'm gonna have to go for me. It's between Leonardo and Raphael. Probably more Leonardo, the first one for me. That's, I don't know, who I've always connected with, I guess, in a way. But Icarus, what about you? I mean, do you know anything about the Turtles? But how do you feel about this fact that this IP is geared towards kids and this is gonna be pretty weird, pretty gory?
So when I was a kid, my brother was really into Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, and so then I was like, oh, well, I can't like it then because my brother likes it. But I was a closeted Ninja Turtle fan. Like, I didn't want them to know, but I loved the Turtles. Donatello is my favorite because he had the purple one, and I'm like, that's cool, that's purple. I do think it's interesting that it's an R-rated thing, but like you said, like, it's a pre-existing graphic novel that they're adapting this from, which just, it feels a little bit like the graphic novel is a fan fiction and now they're turning the fan fiction into the movie. Like, it feels like, obviously, like a non-canon adaptation of the story, which I think is interesting. I mean, yeah, I don't know. I'm just like, why didn't we get Five Nights at Freddy's R-rated, but we can get the Turtles can be R-rated, but FNAF can't be.
I think that's an interesting point too to bring up is that this could have been PG-13, but knowing what I know of the graphic novel, it's extremely gory and extremely violent. Either way, since they are going hard like a rated R, I hope they actually lean into it, not just like a soft R. Does that make any sense?
Yeah.
Either way, for me, I'm excited. If they adapt it the way they should, everyone will be shocked who haven't read the graphic novel who actually the last turtle is. Because this turtle is like very disgruntled, very like moody, very
So it's Raphael.
Not gonna say.
You know,
so it's
do you know
Raphael.
who it is?
I know who it is because I've read all the graphic novels.
I feel like it's got to be
I'm not gonna say anything. Yeah,
Raphael seems like he's
because it shocks people. But were you gonna say something?
I just can't wait. When is this movie slated to come out? This summer?
It's slated to come out next year. It just got greenlit. It's slated to come out next year. It looks like they're hoping for a 2025 release date.
I just
That'd be a
know
fast turnaround.
that what's going to happen with the first Deadpool movie is going to happen with this, where parents are going, I have a kid who's anywhere from like 9 to 14. I need something to do on a Saturday to distract this little goober. I'm going to take him to the movie. A new Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle movie just came out. I'll take him to that. And you take the kid to the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle and then just sit there going, what have I done to my poor kid? Oh no! And then everyone riots at the studio because they didn't look at the rating on the movie. And I know that's going to happen because it happens every couple of years.
And I completely agree it's going to actually happen, but that's on them.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, as a parent, I always check to make sure what the rating is, and I watch the trailers before actually, anything like that. So to me, that's on the parent, not them. But all right, guys, what do you guys think of this news? TMNT, The Last Ronin is actually being made into a live-action film, rated R. Leave your comments in that section below, and let us know your thoughts. All right, what is next here? We have Disney Plus, according to IndieWire. This is a very interesting topic I wanted to bring up because it's making me scratch my head. They're reportedly getting a Fastlane TV style channels for Marvel and Star Wars on Disney Plus. Now, what that means is that they will actually be kind of like a Disney Channel on cable or a Nickelodeon on cable, where it just you go to the Marvel channel on Disney Plus and it's just playing whatever's live at the moment. And you stay there to watch commercials. Like it has, I'm assuming it's going to be structured like that. They'll have commercials. They'll have all that stuff. I'm going to go to Icarus first. What's the point?
I don't know. It doesn't make any sense to me. I'm like, you go to Disney Plus and you can access any of these things that they would be programming and playing just whenever you want. Why you need to go to one where it's like random programming? You jump in at what? Again, it's like it's essentially cable, but still on the streaming service. So it doesn't. The point, it doesn't make sense why this is necessary.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What do you think, Jordan? I mean, what are they going to do? Just like put on random episodes of each season, or like what do you think?
I mean, I know Thomas mentioned this earlier, so I think it is would be an interesting idea if they just played just random episodes of Marvel content. No like structure to them. They're just this episode here. How about an episode here? But I don't know who that's gonna hit. Who's gonna watch it? Because if you're on Disney Plus, why wouldn't you just go to a show that you want to watch? A show that you're like continuous to watching. You've already watched the previous episode. The idea behind it seems interesting, but I don't know how practical it is.
No, it doesn't exactly say for sure. They don't go too deep into it, but from what it sounds like too as well, that'll be it'll be on Disney Plus, but it'll be free with ads.
I was gonna say I have a
but they haven't
about
confirmed
those.
that. But does that make a little more sense if they did it? Like it'd be people can go on Disney Plus for this for free, but it would just be that. Thomas?
I was gonna say I have a theory. that specifically with it being on Disney Plus, assuming, okay, I'm going to start with if it's behind the paywall. Makes no sense. And I feel like it being like announced like it's a big thing makes no sense specifically because Netflix has that like shuffle thing on it for people who literally like, I don't know, pick, and it just randomizes one of the thousands of things available to watch. I'm like, okay, fine, whatever. For someone who just wants something in the background music and you don't want to think about it after a long day at work, sure, whatever, fine, makes sense. I'm not going to use that tool, but sure, okay, you have it. Having it be outside of the paywall is what makes the most sense to me. I was even just about to say this feels like the perfect thing to do with like some older shows that they've got. Like I'm thinking like for like WandaVision and Loki for the Marvel stuff, things that have been out for a few years now that maybe people still don't want to pay for it, but they also still want to get that content. So you would up your viewership and attention towards these projects and still get, you know, views, ratings, whatever, on these older projects to a newer audience without having to try and sell them on buying the program anyways. And I think that makes a lot of sense. And I was even going to go as far to say, like, if it is completely free even with ads, I think that would do good for Disney. I have not been happy with the way that they've run Disney Plus at all. I wrote not to self-promote, I wrote a paper about how streaming services were a plague back in like 2020. And everything that I theorized was going to happen, not to be like, meh, but everything that I theorized was going to happen has since happened, and now it is completely overinflated, and everyone is just collapsing in on itself, and buy out. Everyone owns each other now. So yeah, I think it's things like this and making it more accessible with slightly older media is going to be a good direction for them, and I hope that they do that instead of keeping it behind a paywall.
Jordan, I mean, they have Disney Channel already on cable. Like, so if they're just doing Marvel and Star Wars, why wouldn't they do just their regular Disney product too? I don't know. Like, should they do that or just get rid of Disney Channel or what?
Like, should they air these on Disney Channel?
No, I'm saying like, should they just get rid of Disney Channel and put it on Disney Plus, like? Or because right now it just looks like they're slating to do Marvel and Star Wars. I think like it's what their article says. But what about their other products, like their you know, National Geographic stuff or their actual Disney or Pixar stuff? You know what I mean? Like
it seems like with them doing this, especially if being able to watch these channels will be free on Disney Plus, with using ads, then they could promote their other content. Which then, if you go to watch a Star Wars show and now you're promoting any other non-Star Wars or non-Marvel content, then you buy Disney Plus, now you can watch it. So I wonder if they're going to use it as a way to just gain more audiences to pay for Disney.
That's a good point. My opinion, I just think it's unnecessary, but I do get your guys' points that it could bring more eyes to the people, especially if the article says it is for free. Yeah. I don't know. They're all trying too many new things that they're trying to get more people in, but at the same time, to me, it's a waste of time and waste of money, personally.
The thing that I'm curious about is, are they going to embrace the old ways of cable, which personally I never had an issue with, in having like a guide saying like, okay, well, this is when Loki season 2 is going to be airing. If they're going to go that way, and like maybe they have it air, like they have one episode air a week or something like that, or are they just going to do like block marathons? It's like, today is just Loki. Are they going to do it that way, or is it going to truly just be like completely random episodes? You never know what you're going to see. Because if that is the case, then I feel like for that audience that you did have, for the people who are actually wanting to see this stuff, it now makes it impossible to see it. So I'm hoping that they'll have a guide. But I also know how Disney operates, and they don't do things that make sense.
Why don't we just use cable then? Why don't we just go back to
I have a solid opinion that they just need to start airing all the old Disney Plus stuff on the Disney Channel. Disney Channel already exists. From what I know, it's still going strong. I don't watch it, but I know that shows are still being produced on the Disney Channel, so I don't know why they're not just slipping in the occasional Marvel show.
And that's my question about it too. So we will see how it goes, how it plays out here, but I definitely want to discuss it. It's just a very interesting topic that they're something that no other streaming service is doing right now, so we will see. All right, folks, what do you think of this news about Disney Plus making their own TV channels free with ads? Leave your comments in that section below and let us know your thoughts.
Your thoughts. Up next, Steve Buscemi has been cast in season 2 of Wednesday. Are any of you familiar with the show Wednesday?
I watched the very first episode, and I just said it's not for me.
I watched season 1.
Yeah, I don't want to say anything negative about it. I really don't have anything too negative. It just wasn't for me.
What about you?
I watched part of it. Didn't get all the way through it. It felt a little too camp probably isn't the right word. Just maybe even just a little too trendy to me. Like like the opposite of camp. Like it felt too normal.
It does seem like a show that if it's not your taste, you're not going to be interested in it.
Yeah.
But Steve Buscemi has been cast to join for season 2. If you don't know, Wednesday does follow Wednesday Addams from the Addams family. Season 1 followed her experience of going from one school to another, because I think she tried to kill somebody.
Yeah.
I'm not 100%
Something like
sure.
that.
Yeah.
I think she tried to kill a kid at school. So they sent her almost like a boarding school, and it's just kind of her journey of understanding who she is, meeting friends, and that thing. But Steve Buscemi has been in a ton of stuff. He was in Con Air. He's also the voice of Randall from Monsters, Inc.
Yep.
And he's now season 2. We don't know what his role is yet. There's speculation that he's going to play the new principal of Evermore Academy.
Academy.
Words are hard sometimes.
Yeah.
But people are thinking he's gonna play the principal. I think this is gonna be an interesting mix with the rest of the cast. Josh, I want to know your thoughts.
Yeah, to me it's actually a perfect casting in my opinion. Like he has that sort of, I don't want to say look to him, but he does have that look for this franchise. He does. And honestly, if he's playing the principal, that would make sense, because I see him, if he's gonna play anything, it's more of an antagonistic role, like an antagonist to it. So I'm all for it. I love a lot of stuff he's been in. Of course, he's been in everything Adam Sandler ever does.
Yeah.
Which is great. But he was also, none of people know this, for his drama side, Boardwalk Empire, which was on HBO, was really good. He actually got nominated quite a bit for Emmys for that one, for his dramatic role in that. So I'm pretty excited about this one. I just hope. I wonder who else they're going to actually cast from here. What about you, Tom?
I don't really know. I don't really have that opinions on me. We'll skip over me.
Oh, that's fine. That's fair.
Do you think, because you did see the first episode, just seeing the aesthetic of the show and kind of seeing Steve Buscemi and the roles he's done, do you think it potentially could be a good fit?
Yeah, I mean, I think that, again, I'm envisioning, when you say principal role, I'm envisioning the dean from Community, but just as Steve Buscemi in a more satirical fashion.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think it'll probably be fine.
What about you, Chris?
Kind of the same thing. I mean, from what I gathered, Wednesday is like a comedic drama, if you will. So, and I feel like that, that works for Steve. Say his last name again?
Buscemi.
Okay, that's what I thought it was, and then I looked at it spelled out, and I'm like, how did you say that? Yeah, Steve Buscemi. Okay.
And he's just rumored that he might play the principal. No one knows for sure. He hasn't been officially casted for a character role. I could either see him, or I would love for them to maybe explore someone trying to take their house from him, like what happened in the movies. I think that'd be kind of fun to have Steve Buscemi be that kind of character. Or even the mayor or governor or something who doesn't like them, kind of thing. I think that'd be a lot of fun.
I like that you said to play an antagonist, which we have seen him as an antagonist, but I feel like most of the time he just plays kind of the weird sidekick.
Yeah.
So I think having him be an antagonist would be a very interesting aspect of it. I also wonder if this is going to bring in any new audiences that didn't see season 1 that are fans of Steve Buscemi, because he's done a wide range of content.
He really could. He could bring in maybe a little bit. I don't know about a ton, because for me the big draw is Jenna Ortega. Or if you're Luis Guzman is pretty big. But I could see people who are fans of comedy who like him, they could be coming on board just to see what he does. So I could probably get on with that idea.
Yeah.
Other than that, I mean, it wouldn't be a ton of people, but it would be probably a good audience.
I know I'm excited to see him now that he's in there. I think it's going to be a great fit. But let us know what your thoughts on that. Are you a Wednesday fan? You want to watch season 2? How do you feel about Steve Buscemi now potentially being in season 2? Let us know your thoughts.
All right.
What do we got?
Am I next?
Am I next?
I think you're next.
Sorry. It's been a day.
It has been a day.
Up next. I'm actually really excited about this one, and I think overall everyone else is very, very excited. I can see Thomas's smirk right now. I'm
Thomas
very
got
excited.
giddy.
I have a question for the group, but I'll wait.
Keanu Reeves is now joining Sonic 3 to voice Shadow. I'm excited.
I'm very excited.
I think the voice is going to be perfect for it. Addi, who isn't here right now, mentioned earlier to me that some past voices of Shadow have been a little higher pitched maybe a little nasally, in that she thought it'd be kind of cool if it's just a deeper Keanu Reeves voice. So Thomas, I want to get to you. How do you feel about this?
This may just be me. Why does everybody love Shadow the Hedgehog? Period. I don't.
Addi had a crush
I want to
on him.
clarify. I don't know that much about the Sonic stuff in general. I get it. He's like a cool guy from what I've gathered. I don't know. Can someone explain to me why everybody is thirsting over a hedgehog?
It's just cool.
Thirsting is a very interesting.
Yeah.
Cool.
I thought you were going to ask, why is everyone in love with Keanu Reeves?
That's the second question.
Because Keanu's awesome. He's such a good person that you just want to
Exactly.
root for him as a person.
He's such a polite human being.
I mean, but that's just like
Is he a great
a
actor?
polite guy.
No.
Like,
No, maybe.
To me, he's what you call a movie star. He's not an actor. He's not like a
He's a
great
movie
actor.
star.
He's a movie star.
yeah.
So to me, that's the big difference. But I mean, Shadow. I mean, I preferred more Knuckles than Shadow as far as all the Sonic lore. But of course, Sonic will always be number one. It's a very interesting casting. They already have someone with a deep voice, Idris Elba, playing Knuckles. So like, if they're gonna have someone who's just as deep voice, like just gonna hey, and he's just constantly talking to each other like that. Icarus, you got
your thoughts?
something going on over there.
I was just looking at Keanu Reeves and what movies he's been. I don't know.
He's got The Matrix,
He's just a
that
guy.
bus one, and the one where he kills all the people. Those are the three
That
John Wick.
series.
That's called
The
John
bus
Wick,
one.
good sir.
Those are the three
I
series
don't
that
know.
Google will show you. when
He's
you
not
quote
in
Keanu Reeves.
he's not in a genre that I tend to watch or enjoy.
You like him in Bill and Ted?
I haven't
He is in
seen
Bill
Bill
and
and Ted.
You would like it.
He'd like
Bill
it.
and
It's a
Ted's
comedy.
excellent.
Again, a genre that I don't typically enjoy. He's in action and comedy is what it looks like, which are two genres I just don't typically watch.
Interesting.
It's funny because those are the two that I almost exclusively watch without outside. Thanks.
Either way, I mean, it's a very good casting. I think it's perfect casting for what they're wanting to probably go for, because Shadow is a villain turned hero. I can't remember exactly.
Anti-hero.
More. Kind of like Knuckles, but not. I mean, Knuckles is more of a comedic element of what they've created him, like kind of like a serious person, but he's funny. But I think this one they're going to try and go more of a
I mean,
strictly...
look at him, Thomas. Like,
He looks like my cat. Okay.
Are you not a little bit intrigued by this character? Look at him.
He's got a surprising amount of chest hair.
Yeah.
But
Those are my notes.
One question I'm having though, guys, is I know all these characters are within the lore, but when you include the human characters, when you include Sonic, Tails, Knuckles now, Dr. Eggman, Jim Carrey's coming back for the third, do you feel like it's just getting a little too crowded for the movies? I don't know. What do you think?
I haven't seen any of the movies.
I mean, what do you think?
I think, especially when we get to visually see Jim Carrey, I think for voice actors, it's very important that if you want people to go like, oh, that's Keanu Reeves, then you need to have somebody that has a very distinct voice. And some people, I'm not sure if I'd be able to point them out just by hearing them.
That's fair.
I think my biggest question is actually, how has there been 3 Sonic movies?
Yeah.
How
Okay.
is there, like, okay, the first one came out and it's like, it's a video game remake, it's bound to not go well. And then there was a second one, and now there's how has there been 3?
I never thought I would say this. I want
It's
to come to the defense of Sonic the Hedgehog 2, specifically the movie.
I'm sure
The
it's
first
fine.
movie, take it or leave it. I thought it was a movie. I didn't think it needed to exist. The second movie, I've only seen it the one time in theaters, and I genuinely enjoyed the movie. I don't think that you need to watch Sonic 1 to enjoy Sonic 2. I think if you're going to have the Sonic experience, just start with the second one. The first one's a lot of setup to what pays off. The third one, no idea where it's going to go from here. It's
answer-
completely off the
the
I
rails.
answer-
saw
your
they
question-
made a ton in the box
No,
office.
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So they had a $110 million budget. They made $400 million. So they...
Yeah, no, they made a ton, but like respectfully, how? Like, no, it's fine. There's a Sonic fandom. I know there is. We have a member in our KMOS
In our
crew.
ranks.
It's so intriguing to me. Because when you think about where this is coming from, a silly little, like, some of them were just platformer video games. Most of them, if I'm correct, yeah. Just some 2D platformer style video games from the 80s, 90s. What?
That people
Yeah.
just
Where did
love.
this come from?
I would also like to defend one other thing about this franchise is that the best on-screen relationship, or most realistic on-screen relationship I've ever seen is in the Sonic franchise, and it's James Marsden and I hope I don't screw up her name, Taika Sumpter. The two of them as Tom and Maddie knock it out of the park. They're the best part about the first movie.
Yeah.
Just watching them interact is so funny.
I can completely agree with that one.
I don't remember if they have that big of a role in the second one, but I just know I came for Sonic. I didn't expect to come for Sonic, but I stayed for James Marsden and Taika Sumpter.
Hopefully they'll find a way to have everyone get their moment to shine, because these movies are typically only an hour and a half, and to have all those characters crammed in one movie,
It's gonna be
we'll see how it goes.
Be like Avengers
tough.
Endgame.
Avengers
Sonic.
Endgame. Sonic Assemble.
What do you guys
Sonic
think of this
Assembly.
news? What do you guys think of Keanu Reeves being casted as Shadow for Sonic 3? Leave your comments in the section below and let us know your thoughts. Oh yeah, they're making a Knuckles movie spin-off, by the way, too.
Why?
Why? Okay, I get it. I
Who produces
respect
these
the
movies?
fandom.
let's
but
move on.
how?
I just want to throw
Why?
that
I don't
out
know.
there. Just want to throw it out there. Let's
Always
move on
thinking
now.
about
We're
that.
talking Fallout. Fallout
Fallout.
episodes 1 through 3. We were supposed to do 1 through 4, but I had some people who didn't do their
It's been
homework.
a long
Listen,
They're
It's been a
75-minute
It's been a
episodes, aren't
long
they?
week.
They're
the
like
first one's 75. I think the rest are an hour, but
okay.
still, that is
It's long
been a week.
episodes.
a required
long
4.5 hours of content.
You originally wanted to do all 8.
I really did.
And
because
he was like, what if we just watch all
So
of
when
it?
it came out, I binged it last weekend at some point. Just watched them all. I stayed up to like
I'm
3,
so glad
4
that you
a.m.
have free time in a
Oh
week.
no, I made time for it. I
Yeah.
had to make time for it because I wanted to watch it. And either way, I was still editing photos as I was doing it. Anyway, right now it sits at 94% on Rotten Tomatoes for aggregate score for critics and 89% for audiences. Most says here the consensus is Fallout is a story of haves and have-nots in the world in which there's almost nothing left to have. 200 years after the apocalypse, the gentle denizens of luxury fallout shelters are forced to return to the irradiated hellscape that their ancestors left behind. All right, so we're going to start off here for our resident Fallout experts. And we have 2 other people. We have Noah and Isaiah and a few others who are on the floor who may give their input as well because they are big, huge Fallout fans as themselves. But Thomas, episodes 1 through 3, how do you feel so far?
A couple weeks ago, I was on the show, and I said that I was worried that they wouldn't lean super hard into the actual aesthetic, and they would just make it feel like the 1950s and not like the Fallout world. All of those complaints out the window. They have done an excellent job of making the world feel like the in-game universe. As far as that goes, I think the story so far, I've been entertained by it, but honestly, I don't think it's anything like groundbreaking. I'm intrigued by all of the characters. I really like all the actors. I think everybody is doing an A++ job. Yeah, I like it. I will say I might maybe I've just been burned a little bit by seeing this image in the middle monitor here. This image has been all over my social media for the last like 4 or 5 months. So I'm a little bit sick of that image in particular, but the rest of it I'm loving.
So Icarus, you watched 1 through 3 with Thomas.
Yeah,
and
and
you never played the games before, right?
Never played the game. Know very little about Fallout other than what Thomas has directly told me. But yeah, I think the show is holding up. Obviously, we're only on episode 3, so there's a lot of those loose ends that are kind of all over the place. So it's hard to give like an actual review of the show because the ends haven't been tied up. But yeah, no, I think the actors are all doing a really good job. They're all playing compelling characters. I think like none of them feel flat.
Yeah.
They all have some dimension to them.
I'd say the main 3: Ella Pernod, who plays Lucy.
Yeah.
Walter Goggins, who plays Cooper Howard. Walton, sorry. And then Aaron Clifton Moten, who plays Maximus. I think those 3 really get a lot of good depth to their characters.
Yeah.
So what about you? Haven't played the games either. So someone who's just coming at it, just fresh. What do you think so far?
I think visually it looks very, very good. I'm very satisfied and very pleased. It kind of like itches the brain a little bit. The story is really, really good. I agree. I don't know if it's anything groundbreaking, but I am very entertained by it. My only slight issue with it, and this is just a me issue, everyone else probably is fine with it. I have an issue where shows and kind of books, they'll tell the story, but through the eyes of each character individually within the same story. So like the first episode, we go to Lucy, and then we go to Maximus, and I'm like, oh, I was really intrigued by Lucy. Let's go back to her. I don't.
Right.
And that is a me issue. I fully am aware of that. Other than that, I think it's very, very good.
Yeah, and I can't get too much into it since I have seen it all, but for episode 3 where you guys are at, we're not going to get into spoilers here. We won't want to ruin anything for anybody who hasn't seen it, even though it's been out for about a week.
Okay, but also that's only a week. Like,
Yeah. It's been a really
it's like
short
9
amount
hours
of
of
time. Yeah, we do
content.
not. Yeah, don't give spoilers.
As far as someone who has been a fan of the show for a while, how did you feel about the revelation of where the guy who you see with the thumbs up, like the actual
yeah.
how like they reveal in the show who that is? How did you feel about that?
Okay.
Without getting into it.
They reveal the character right at the end of episode 3, so I don't know really where the implications of that go, other than this character kind of resents that role that they played in the creation of Vault Boy, who is absolutely everywhere in these games. It is the front man of Vault Tech, the company that every single game has to do with, at least in some aspect. And honestly, I feel like this reveal is something that, like, it feels Marvel-y to me. It feels like something that Marvel would do. We're like, oh, here's this little tiny detail that needs no explanation, and we're gonna give backstory to it. I don't think it's necessary. I think it's an interesting story, but I don't think that story needs to be main character story. I think that's like an okay side quest in a game. Like, I don't think it needs to be one of 3 big stories that you're telling over the course of this.
I actually want to disagree. I think that it's actually kind of helpful for people who maybe haven't played the game and are watching this show, and it gives a little bit more context to the world itself. Because from what you've described, there's some complex lore with the Fallout games. And so for people who might not know as much, or which I'm like, why are you watching the show if you haven't played the game? But whatever, obviously I'm watching it and I haven't played the game. It helps kind of tie things together, and it's really, because I mean, like as you've described, the game is about capitalism and the effects of it and what it will cause and the downfall. This gives like a more concrete way for people to understand, okay, so this is how the story is gonna go. Again, ties it to real world issues that I think just makes it a little bit easier to comprehend for someone who might be an outsider to the Fallout world.
And this is something that I thoroughly enjoyed because, of course, I know a lot about the Fallout universe. A lot. Like, every time we're watching it, like, every 20 minutes or so, I have to pause and give, like, a 15-minute explanation of, oh, well, here's how these events all led to this this little tiny reference in the game that I'm now going to give back context to.
Yeah, not everyone who's watching the show has a Fallout expert, so it's nice to, like, tie things into the main story. It's like, oh, why is there that thumbs up guy? Where did he come from? This like gives it a more concrete reason rather than it's just an icon.
And I can agree with that too. I like that aspect a little bit, even though I've never played the games myself. But it's kind of an interesting little tidbit of like backstory and history. One of the things I find intriguing is that this does take place within the video game world. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it takes place within the video game world. It's all canon. And this is like it takes place like with 2296, which is basically like the furthest we've gone is in this Fallout world, which I find very interesting.
It takes place 9 years after the furthest into the universe that we've seen previously in the games, which was Fallout 4. I believe. I could be wrong in that, but I believe that was Fallout 4.
It's very interesting. So real quick, I want to kind of go around the table. What is like your favorite character so far that you think has been the most impactful?
I really liked how they introduced the ghoul in the first episode.
Yes.
We see him at the very beginning for like 3 minutes maybe. It is short. And I feel like because it is, I don't know if I want to give it away, it's Walton Goggins.
Yes.
And I think because we know that, some people are like, oh, that's cool. And then he just disappears for the entire rest of the episode until like the last 5 minutes. And he shows up, he looks very different from when he did right at the beginning. I was like, ooh, that's cool.
I mean, to me, it's in the trailers too, because you see the ghoul, then you see Walter Goggins' character, Koopa Howard.
Yeah.
If you can't tell that those got to be the same character, I don't know what to tell you.
And if you know he's in it, they're going to cast him.
Yeah, I totally picked up on that already.
Yeah, apparently.
No, I didn't find that out right as we were talking about it before.
Yeah, we brought it up like I think
no,
before
it makes
the show
sense.
started. But what I was intrigued about as I was watching it, which I'm excited for you guys to find out too, is how he went from that to that.
Yeah.
They kind of explore that more within the show.
Go?
Yeah.
I've got some ideas.
So far for me, I don't know why, I just find Lucy's character, Ella Parnell's character Lucy, very intriguing. It's just she's a very innocent kid who doesn't know anything about this world, or even anything about what's going on within her own vault. And as you get to know her more within this episode, it just gets more and more in depth as far as how she sees the world and how who she becomes, and trying to struggle with still being that good person. Right. So, what about you, Thomas?
I'm going to pass it off for the time being.
I think obviously the main three are all intriguing in their own ways. Of course, the introduction to the ghoul is very cool, if not for the fact that I can hardly look at his face. Like literally every time he showed up on screen, I'm like, ugh, it's just so
right, he's right behind
It's just so yucky. Like the CGI and the special effects makeup that they did on him looks really cool, but in like such a gross way that I'm like, it literally makes my skin crawl. But his character himself is cool. The little motif that he has, his little audio motif, it's so cool.
Yeah.
Maximus's character is really interesting. He obviously has a pretty complicated mindset that is gonna get him hurt, and has gotten him hurt, and will continue to probably get him hurt. And so I'm kind of excited to see that character development. Lucy's character, obviously, you know, she's set up as the main character because we see her first. And of course, the very innocent mindset, but she's still like, okay, let's go do all this. Okie dokie, as she says a lot.
It's funny, I found myself saying that quite often this past week, and I was like, God, I need to stop telling myself that to me.
Yeah, I think my biggest complaint is, I don't know that I don't know if this is a spoiler. There's perhaps some hinted romance after a while between two of the main three.
Which, don't give any opinions on that, because I like the ambiguity of it.
I won't say anything.
I don't like it because I see it developing and I'm like, why? I don't want it. I don't want the romance, but I see the inklings of it, so hopefully it plays out in an okay way. It's not just pretty boy like thing that it's just a little bit it's just a little bit unnerving when I'm like, okay, there's always got to be a story with some sort of romance, but if it's played out in a good way, that I feel like it hasn't quite set itself up to be played out in the best way. We'll see where it goes.
We'll see where it goes.
Yeah.
All right, Thomas, who's your favorite character so far?
Man, it honestly really hard time to choose. I'm gonna give some honorable mentions. The guy who plays, I don't remember the character name, but the guy that is, without spoiling, he's the target for the first couple episodes. The doctor guy. I think his actor is perfect for that role.
Dr. Siggy.
Yes, absolutely love that character. That'll be my honorable mention. I love the ghoul. The ghoul's so cool.
He is.
And of course, I'm like, I love cowboys. I love this universe. He's a cool cowboy living in the wasteland. He's got an awesome gun.
Just wish he wasn't so yucky to look at. I'm like, I want to love him, but I'm just like, oh, please get him off screen, please.
I also just love how with the exception of Lucy, all of the characters that we've seen like an in-depth look at so far have almost like antagonistic traits about them. All of them are doing the right thing in their own eyes. They're all doing things for themselves, and a lot of the times, like, again, don't want to spoil it too much, but a lot of things like interweave with each other but don't directly impact each other for a long time. And I think that's done in a really unique way. And going back a little bit to what Jordan said earlier about how it's told like, okay, here's this block of story, now we're going to cut, like, sort of like a cliffhanger, now we're going to cut to a completely different part of the story. I have to disagree with you on that. I understand where you're coming from, and usually I hate it. I 100% agree. But for these long format episodes, I think that it works a lot better than seeing like the first hour and a half into Lucy's story, where we get to, I'll just say until the scene in the town that was in the promos. Like all of that until that point, I would much rather have it the way that it is, so that you know why all these people are meeting up in the same place, than be like, okay, here's Lucy's story, and then hard cut all the way back. Now we see like, okay, here's how Maximus got there. I hate it when people do. There's a show in particular I can think of that did that, and it really annoyed me, and I can't remember what it was. But I'm glad that it is. They all feel balanced. I'm always left wanting more, but I'm never left well, this is stupid.
Right.
So
that's right. You had your hand up?
I was just going to say, kind of on the same complaint, that it's like, I disagree with you a little bit, because I feel like their stories actually connected up really quickly. Like, I wanted a little bit more, like, distance. Like, it felt a little plot convenient. Like, oh, they're all just right here. And yeah, you probably haven't gotten to the point where they're kind of together yet, but they've all kind of already started to intertwine more directly, and I wish there was a little bit of that like distance before they come together, so it's a little bit more satisfying rather than just, oh, well, we met these 3 people and now they're all together because.
I mean, I can see that, but it's set in Los Angeles and there's not a lot of people left on the surface, so like when you come across people, it's, you know, there's not as many. And Thomas is like holding, he's just like this.
Sorry, I had more thoughts and I had to make sure not to talk over people. We're talking about my hyperfixation, it's hard to.
Yeah, you know, it's okay. Go ahead, Thomas. Camera's on you.
You mentioned it's set in Los Angeles, and something that I really like that they've done is they acknowledge the fact that it was Los Angeles. There is nothing left of Los Angeles. In like the opening scene, we see Los Angeles get hit by like 3 or 4 bombs.
Yep.
It's cooked. For fans of the game, we've seen cities that are cooked before, specifically like Fallout 3. The Capital Wasteland is impassable. There are entire sections of the map where you cannot travel above ground because it is just rubble.
Yeah.
And I really like that they've taken that step back, and because I was thinking, I'm like, oh well, it's going to be shot in Los Angeles, and you know they're just going to be walking around cities, and I'm thinking like the minor spoilers, but like the episodes of Last of Us where they're in Kansas City, where it's like just kind of nondescript buildings, not very interesting set pieces, and I think they've done a really good job of negating that.
Yeah, I agree. Overall scores, guys. Jordan, so far, what would you give it so far?
So far, a solid 7.
7? Okay. Well, I've seen at this point, I think I gave it like an 8, but like for the end of it, I gave it like a 9.5 by the end of the show. So what about you, Thomas? What would you give it so far as a score?
I think weirdly I'm also going to go 8. Of course, I've only seen the first 3 of 8 episodes, so I'm sure that opinion will change, hopefully for the better. But I don't see, honestly, like, again, I really like this show. I'm happy that it's being created faithfully, and it looks like a video game adaptation that actually cares about its fan base, and I'm really glad that it got that passion behind it, because I don't think that I could live with seeing like the Doom movie. If I was like a huge fan of Doom and I saw the Doom movie, I'd be like, that blew. But I'm glad that it's getting the attention that it deserves.
Yeah, definitely. What about you, Chris?
Yeah, I was also going to give it an 8. It loses points for all the gore. I just can't do gore very well, and that's a personal problem. And then why did they make him so yucky? I want to like him, and he's just so gross to look at.
There's also just like a lot of unnecessary.
A little bit of like almost comic gore that I'm like, what's the point if it's not intentional? Gore
and like, I'm trying to think of a PBS friendly way to say this. Adult activities that happen that are like completely out of nowhere, and they were looking at me like this has a lot more.
First episode, and there's a lot more adult content. Adult related conversations, and I'm like, what is this show about? I'm like, I thought this was like post-apocalyptic. Like, why are they talking about this so much?
And I was so surprised.
So it loses some points for that.
That doesn't really happen at all in the games. At least not like even like referencing to it doesn't really happen. So it's just kind of interesting that like they take such a overt turn, like literally within like the first 20 minutes of the first episode. I was like,
a little bit shocked.
What am I watching right now? What is this smut? I came for Fallout.
So that.
All right, guys. What do you think of what is your review of the Fallout episodes 1 through 3? Or if you've seen the whole show, give us your rating from 1 out of 10, and give us your positives and negatives.
No spoilers.
No spoilers in
Hopefully,
that comic
if everyone's down our last episode next week, we will try and review the rest of the show if we can. But I will let you guys know with that one. But other than that, leave your comments in the section below and let us know your thoughts. We are going to go a little bit over time today, but that's okay. It's the last live stream, and I want to have some fun.
We're going to be here forever.
So we're talking our discussion of the week now. What's our discussion of the week?
Last week, our lovely, lovely Addi, who unfortunately is not able to be here tonight, she had something else going on, but she just casually, briefly mentioned that her childhood crush was Shadow from Sonic. And you know, we all kind of laughed at her and like, ha ha ha, but then we kind of had to realize we all have very interesting childhood fictional character crushes. So Addi, I do apologize for laughing at you, but we all want to discuss what are our childhood fictional character crushes. I think we should start. You look very intrigued to start.
Am I?
Yeah. How about we just start with you, Josh?
Okay.
Who's like your 3?
3?
Like-
okay.
like you're on your
okay.
third.
Okay. We'll go a little lower there. For me, since I grew up watching the movie Jessica Rabbit, but I think that's kind of a
That's
common.
everyone's
I think that was
crush.
everyone's favorite. So we'll kind of
Who
go a little
didn't
bit
have a
differently. We'll
crush
go
on it?
Sailor Moon, and hold on. I was ashamed. I will say I did think that Lola Bunny. I said Lola Bunny. I thought everybody looked at me like I was weird. But I'm like no, it's wrong. I'm like, really?
Yeah. You were like, hear me out, guys.
And I was like,
Hear
I
me
always
out.
thought
And
that was a
everyone
weird
went,
one
yeah.
too for me. But yeah, like I'd say that, or Sailor Moon was another big one for me. But yeah, we're about. I want to get off the soapbox now. We're gonna go over Thomas or Chris. Let's go.
I can't think of one. I've been trying to think of one for the last like 3 hours ever since it was brought up.
No, what's
and I
actually
got
weird about
nothing.
him is that he says he doesn't have a single one that he
I
can
don't-
remember.
that's
And
so
I'm
hard
just
to
like,
believe.
how?
I just didn't watch that much TV as a kid. Not that I remember, anyways.
Yeah. But anyways, so mine. I feel like mine aren't that weird, like very standard for my generation. Alex Russo from Wizards of Waverly Place.
I
Obviously.
forgot about him. Oh my
Also,
gosh.
yeah, also her brother, Justin Russo. Yeah.
Yeah.
Love those two. Wizards of Waverly Place was my show. Yeah, Alex Russo played by Selena Gomez, by the way. Justin Russo played by David Henry. Yeah.
Yep.
I'm trying to pull out a weird one because I'm sure there was a weird one. The Wansler. The Wansler from
The what?
the Wansler from the
From the
Lorax.
Lorax?
Pre
Like crazy.
when everything
Yeah.
went weird.
Okay.
Just like the little guitar guy.
just like a-
he's
he was a band
greasy.
guy.
He's emo. I love him.
Yeah. No, I agree. I'm with you on that
Yeah,
one.
yeah, young Wansler,
Yeah,
not
young.
old Wansler.
Yeah.
What
Yeah.
one do you have?
On mine, one that I have, I don't feel like this is shocking, but Draco Malfoy from Harry Potter. That
Oh.
was my dude growing up.
Yeah.
I didn't care about anybody else in the movies. He was my man.
Another one for me was Buffy Summers from Buffy the Vampire Slayer. That was
Yep.
another big one for me. I got one that I did think about. I remember as a very little kid. I just thought she was really, I don't know why, Lisa Simpson from Simpsons.
That one's
probably
a little
one.
weird.
That
one's
was a little weird. But it's.
I'm a little perplexed by that one.
I was like 5 or 6. I can't
You were
remember.
watching The Simpsons at 5?
Yeah.
Isn't that like
Wow.
an adult show?
I didn't know it was on cable. I had my own TV in my room, and it was on
Weird.
cable. Or it wasn't cable. Sorry, it was on the.
And they say
Fox.
unrestricted internet
Oh.
access is what screwed
Oh.
up humanity. Nah, it was cable TV.
I
The
actually
Simpsons.
do
Look at him.
I have a weird one that I just thought about.
Oh, God, okay.
So you know the Cats musical
Oh,
that
God.
they destroyed in 2019 with the movie. Well, I'm talking the old musical, 1992, I believe, is my favorite one.
Okay.
I had a VHS tape of it as a kid, and I watched it so many times that the VHS wore out. So I got another one, and I did the same thing too. I watched it so many times as a kid. Mr. Mistopheles or Rum Tum Tugger. Just saying.
What?
I would also at this point like to mention that I know that this is true because at some point over last summer I lost some kind of bet and I had to call
Yeah.
them Rum Tum Tugger for like 2 weeks.
Am I allowed to show my?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm-
you're good. You're good. Show.
Hang on. Let's find a good one. Here we go. This one.
All right,
this
let's go.
one.
Let's go to,
It's so small. Hang on. Wait.
You gotta
I gotta
blow-
blow
you
it
gotta blow
up.
it up.
How do I blow it up?
Just zoom in, pinch and zoom.
Wait. Pinch and zoom. Oh God.
For everyone
No,
who
no,
can't
there's so many
see,
menus
our
open.
entire crew on floor has all gathered.
they're like,
They're like, I want to
see
see.
it.
I want to see this. I want to see
Thomas,
it.
help.
What, how,
I don't know.
what has happened
Hang on,
here?
hang on,
What
hang on,
is-
hang on.
what is-
Hold
Hang
on,
on.
hold on,
Yeah,
hold
open
on.
it. Just open in new tab.
Hold on.
Yeah. Open image in new tab. Open image in new tab.
You would think that we're 90 years old.
There we go. We got it. This
Wow.
guy. This guy.
Wow.
You can't tell me I'm wrong. You cannot tell me I'm wrong.
And I thought
he
mine
had a
was
whole
weird.
song about how cool and I can't say that word on PBS. How cool and awesome and pretty he is.
He is pretty.
Interesting.
He's very, very.
Yeah.
still
Or
trying to think
Mr.
of one.
Mistopheles.
I gotta process that a little bit. I'm gonna go with probably my all-time, all-time crush. I think everybody probably knows this who know me. It was Topanga from Boy Meets World. I mean, who wasn't,
Yeah.
crushing on
I
her
have a
back
crush
in?
on Topanga.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
What's the other
She
one
was
you
cool.
have?
Another one that I have is Will Turner from the Pirates of the Caribbean, which I
Oh.
can't remember who it was, but someone on our crew said just put the entire cast on there, and it'll fit.
Oh,
because
I
it's
didn't
true.
say that, but I was
it- I
also
feel like it was
commenting on how
Nolan.
hot Orlando Bloom is in that movie.
I'm trying to show Mr. Mistopheles. It's important.
Oh my goodness.
He's so slim and slender.
And he's got lights on
like
his
a
suit.
noodle man.
No. I love the Cats musical. It is still my favorite musical of all time. I cannot believe they ruined it with that stupid movie in 2019 because the musical is actually good.
It is. It's
Costumes
really
are
good. Yeah.
phenomenal. And then they just said, nah, let's just CGI it and ruin it.
And then didn't finish it.
And then, yeah,
Like, at
and
least
then it's
finish
just...
your CGI.
Yeah, jeez.
You got anyone else,
Louise.
Josh?
Anyways.
The only one I can think of that I thought was like Sonya Blade from the games, or Chun-Li from Street Fighter, the actual game itself. Or,
Peter Malark from Hunger Games. That's another one.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
okay.
yeah. Were you-
Or Gale. Both.
You kind of
Both.
lost me there.
Yeah. Just because.
Sorry.
Yeah. But no, PETA was my favorite.
Peter was my
Okay.
favorite. Oh,
Gale was
yeah.
also-
I'm looking at your screen because you've just searched fictional female characters from the
I
90s
did.
and 2000s. And I saw one. I want to clarify. I never watched this show, but like going back like 10 years to like early teens, I feel like if I watched Kim Possible, I would probably be really into Kim Possible. But I have never seen the show.
Oh,
I'm
yeah. It's a
only
good show.
familiar
Oh, yeah.
with
Good show.
who the character is. That'll be my answer. I wish I could think of one. I wish I had something. You'd think I'd have
You
something
don't think
interesting.
Rum Tum Tugger?
We'll talk about this later.
Yeah. Well. Yeah.
All right.
On that note, no.
This is my favorite discussion
This
we've
is
done ever.
Now that we've all put our,
No, this is
our
Rum Tum Tum.
laundry out
Laid our
there,
hearts out.
lay our hearts out there. What is your guys' favorite or weirdest childhood crushes you had, either animated or live action? Leave your comments
Rum
in the
Tum
section
Tugger.
below and let us know your thoughts. We have one last thing to get to. We have a
quick
question from an audience. One quick
just
question.
funny-
Rapid fire it away.
Just a funny, goofy question. Since our last live, what topping do you like religiously put on your pizza?
Religiously.
This might start a fight. Mine's pineapple, and I'm not ashamed.
Wow. Religiously, so all the time.
Yeah. If people are
Okay.
like, what do you want on your pizza? Pineapple is the first thing I think of.
I will put pineapple on a pizza. It's only if I'm craving it, but it has to be pepperoni and pineapple, so you get that sweet and savory,
It does
and
sound
not
good.
ham and pineapple. No, it's got to be pepperoni and
I just do
pineapple.
straight pineapple.
For me, it's pepperonis, mushrooms, black olives. I'm happy. I'm good to go right there. My wife's, which is disgusting, she calls it her fungus pizza. It's mushroom and anchovy. Just that. Yeah.
I've never had an anchovy, so
It's disgusting.
I feel like I can't judge
It's
without
so
trying.
yeah,
but
exactly. Thank you, Noah. Thumbs down.
Interesting.
If my wife's watching, banana peppers
Banana
is a
peppers
good
are
one.
good.
Yeah, banana peppers is a really
I
good
don't know
one.
if I've ever had a banana pepper. I think that I would be okay. I'm thinking of literally any pizza I've ever eaten. I think I'd be okay with having like bacon bits on any piece of pizza that I ever ate.
Interesting.
I also, this is going to be more of a weird one. I just don't like marinara sauce that much. If every pizza was just barbecue sauce.
Ew.
Oh yeah.
I love barbecue
yeah.
chicken pizzas.
Just
a pepperoni
Oh.
pizza is fine, but if it had barbecue
Barbecue-
sauce, I'd probably enjoy it more.
I'm
probably.
with you.
I don't know.
Oh
What
yeah.
was the question again?
What do
something
you
that
like
you-
religiously put on a
Okay.
pizza?
Yeah.
Oh,
Isaiah's got pepperonis, jalapenos, and hot sauce. Like just like drizzle it on
Dang.
there, huh? Heck
That
yeah.
spice.
We're
just cheese.
just cheese.
I can't eat a lot of regular pizza toppings, especially the meats like pepperoni, sausage, that stuff. I can't
Yeah.
eat it.
That's true. Every pizza I've ever had cheese on it.
Yeah, and I'm so fine with just a plain cheese pizza.
Wow.
I'm like,
It's like
Just
home
the
alone, huh?
classic. Yeah.
just plain cheese pizza.
Plain
cheese.
Extra cheese if I am feeling frisky.
Stuffed crust.
So
Stuffed
yeah,
crust.
sometimes stuffed crust with extra cheese, like the cheese machine pizza. That's
Okay.
that's what I'll have.
Heck yeah.
Yum.
All right, guys, that'll do it for today. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for watching us the entire semester.
gosh.
Again, we will have one more episode next week, but it will be pre-recorded. Will not be live, but we will still have it air on this channel at 4:30 like usual. So keep a lookout for that. We're going to do something really fun at the end. I can't wait to do so. But what do you guys think of all of our news, and what do you guys think of our show? If you like what you watch, you like everything that we provide, and you like these two yahoos over here, do
I
me a
do.
favor.
I'm
Hit
ready.
that like
I'm ready.
button.
I know it's coming.
Hit that like button, punch the subscribe channel, so you receive all of our great content we have for you here on Red
I've seen
Digital
you do
Studio.
it so many times. I'm ready.
That's all we have for you today, guys. Again, I am Josh Williams.
I'm Jordan Burke.
I'm Thomas Delzay.
I'm Icarus Roberts. Sorry, I forgot.
Thank you for keeping
Bless
it
your
real
heart.
Forgot.
with real time.
With real time.